Hi there, my name is Wildkard. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here and giving me the pleasure and the privilege to entertain you while we talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. And this weekend is Rugby Championship Round 2, Argentina versus the Wallabies in Argentina for the second test. Yeah, last week the Wallabies has put a quite convincing win, bonus point win over Argentina with a couple forward passes that happened in that game. Just really glad that we'll have a different referee this weekend. But with that aside, Argentina last week looked really good in the first half, and then the second half, the Wallabies played an extra forward on the bench, immediately paid dividend in the second half in the set piece, and quite, comfortably, I would say, putting the squeeze on Argentina and closed out the game with a bonus point win. With that being said, changes have been made for both teams. The Wallabies are no longer doing the 6-2 bomb squad bench split for this game. I think Quade Cooper getting injured last week probably had Dave Rennie sweating a little bit on his decision to play only two backs. The Springboks has had an early injury as well last weekend. And as a result, Villian Rue was not able to get on the field till like the last 5 minutes or so. But yeah, the Wallabies, new to the bomb squad strategy, was definitely sweating a little bit. And this week, they have reverted back to the 5-3 bench split with 5 forwards and 3 backs to make sure that they have all the positions covered for the week. So going to this match is going to be played in San Juan, Argentina. And the weather looks going to be a little bit warm. This is going to be played in the afternoon sort of thing. It's going to be 19 degrees, around about there. 21 degrees. It's going to be peaking before 7. The weather pattern is quite interesting in Argentina, actually. Look, it's really cold in the morning, like 6 degrees, right? And then it gets, almost summertime weather in the evening. So this could be a little bit warm in the afternoon. Sun, nothing crazy. Humidity pretty low. Pretty much good weather for rugby. Australia has been pretty good at playing in the heat because they do, a lot of the players do play in Queensland. So I don't see the warm temperature is going to be any of an issue for either teams going into this match. So Wallabies, obviously the injury mounts again and again and again every week. It seems to be that as soon as some players are getting better, they get injured, and then other players then the new players and then more players return from injury. It's like a perpetual cycle of players getting injured and returning from injury, and more players getting injured and more players returning from injury. It's just the perpetual, wheel of motion of injuries in the Wallabies at the moment. So James O'Connor coming back from injury, yes, gets the number 10 jersey. Is probably the biggest news for the week. James O'Connor, Rabbit, played against Quade in high school. They're good buddies and they used to be good teammates in the heydays of partying and all that sort of stuff. He gets that number 10 jersey for himself this weekend. We'll have a look at the full lineup in a moment. But the Wallabies has made a lot of changes to this game, and the Argentinian side also made a few changes as well. So in the forward pack, the Argentina one change. Thomas Gallows coming off the bench as a starting position and the loose set prop position. This guy has a lot of energy. He debuted against the All Blacks, and was it against the All Blacks? I think it was against the All Blacks. He came off the bench and scored a try. His first time touching the ball, and what a man to what a debut that was. And he's in the last few, I guess, kind of like 5 games or so, he's just been building himself, really, improving on that scrummaging, improving on that set piece. He has a lot of energy, pretty hard ball carry as well. So yeah, he's already getting a starting spot at this stage against a pretty tough opponent. The Wallabies, is really good to see how that's to see him in the spot. He's up against the Tongan Thor. Yeah, Tanela Tupou, the most handsome man in the Wallabies team. This is going to be a really tough test for Gallows. The Tongan Thor is widely considered the best hard head prop in probably in this part of the world. With New Zealand's props not being so flashy at the moment, Tanela Tupou in the Australasian side of the planet, probably considered the best. And yeah, he's one of the few talents that not only extremely dominant in scrummaging, extremely good in the set piece. He's also a very good ball runner with good hands as well. Sometimes he may push that a little bit too far, was resulting in a few passes that may not be necessary, but he does have the talent when needed to do so. But for me, I just want to see big scrums from Tupou, getting a few tight heads, and the extra, fancy goose steps and all that sort of stuff is just, a bit of a cherry on top. But main thing is the scrummaging. I really want to see Tupou bring that dominance back in the scrums. That's I kind of been missing a little bit so far this year. I want to see that this game against Argentina. Julian Montoya gets the number 2 jersey for Argentina. Folau Faenga'a gets the number 2 jersey. Francisco Gomez Cordella gets the tight head prop position. Is against Jem Slipper, the captain for the Wallabies, at the loose head prop position. The overall, I think, scrum was pretty even last week from memory. But Danilo Tupou has been caught up. So so last week was what's his name? Alana Toa at the 3 position. So Danilo Tupou bringing in that extra bit of weight to the pack as well. We shall see how this goes. This might be a game where this week might be where the scrum plays to the advantage to the Australian side. Matias Alemano gets number 4 jersey once again. Thomas Lavanini gets number 5. He's the one that unfortunately had a yellow card last week. He's apparently the most yellow carded / red carded player in the world. And added another yellow card last week. I think his discipline really needs to be improved. But with that being said, you can't really teach an old dog new tricks. He's been getting yellow cards his entire career, yellow cards and red cards. And that's what basically cost Argentina last week. That yellow card, penalty try, collapsing the more illegally, led the Wallabies in quite a few. Allowed the Wallabies to take over the lead, scoring quite a few points while he was off the field. With the Wallabies, Rory Arnold gets caught into the number 4 jersey. I was pretty surprised to see this. Matt Phillip, whilst I thought he had a really strong season last year, this year so far has been a bit quiet for me. And I think maybe it has to do with his, performance from, if you have an average season with your club, I think it's really hard to transition that, load into a high performance for the Wallabies. I think that's probably what hurts him a little bit. I feel like a lot of these Wallabies players, if they wanted to take their career seriously as an international level player, probably need to consider playing for another team in the Super Rugby instead of playing for the Rebels. Because having, just inconsistency in week out in your club rugby, and then suddenly being asked to perform to the tip-top form consistently at the Wallabies level, it's just not really. It's a little bit harder transition for a lot of these players. So Rory Arnold gets caught into the Wallabies at the number 4 jersey. The big man bringing a lot of size to the team as well. Darcy Swain gets number 5 jersey, moves from the number 4 spot. Quite happy with his performance last week. In the loose forwards, unchanged for the Argentinian side as well. Juan Martin Gonzalez, number 6. Marco Crima, number 7. And Pablo Matera, number 8. The Argentinian loose forwards has done a lot of work last week. Pablo Matera setting up a try. A lot of people think that was forward, but still showing that some of the skills that he's learned from New Zealand playing for the Crusaders, being able to find those space, being able to find himself in support in the right spots to set up that try with hands. Exactly what the Argentinians needed, and it's exactly what Michael Cheika wanted from his forwards. So Michael Cheika was really happy with that try from Pablo Materas, and the overall, I think, physicality from the starting loose forwards was a little bit higher for the Argentinas last week. They did win the forward battle, especially in that first half. It took the Wallabies in the second half for the reserve forwards to finally come on, and a yellow card on Thomas Lavanini to actually assert their dominance in that forwards. So Jed Halloway had his debut last week, gets back in the 6th jersey. Fraser McWright gets caught into the Wallabies starting 7 due to a late pull out from Michael Hooper, who has some mental health issues, and he was recalled back home in Australia. So Fraser McWright, he did look a little bit out of position a little bit, but I mean, I can understand being called back, getting the start for that with a couple of days preparation, it's a little bit hard. So I don't really fault him for that. Hopefully he'll be much better performance this week. We know he has the talent due to his performance for the Reds. We know he's good at the breakdown. We know he brings the physicality. And looking forward to see that headgear once again at the breakdown, getting a bit more work done this week. But last week, he was a little bit all over the place. But he's okay. I think he'll be fine this week. Look to see him improve this week on the field. Rob Valentini, once again for the Wallabies, gets a number 8 jersey. Big physicality, good ball carrier. As everything can ask for that number 8 jersey. In the back line, a few changes for both sides. Gonzalo Bentrano gets caught up to the number 9 jersey. What's his name? Cubelli gets dropped to the bench. Nick White gets number 9 jersey once again for the Wallabies. Quite good for the Wallabies last week. Very solid. Has toned down a lot of his, antics and a lot of his, what do you call it? And I think he's just going back to a lot of his traditional play style instead of a lot of the, he kind of toned down a lot of that wild, fast decision making, quick running sort of style a little bit, which I think is quite good. Santiago, which is because it means that Nick White is creating opportunities for his 10 instead of taking opportunities for himself, which is really, really good to see. So Santiago Carreras once again gets a 10 jersey. He's starting to develop as a really, really good 10. Last week, his hands setting up at least one of the tries was the first try was just spectacular. The way he's able to spot space, look like he's a natural 10, just being able to hold the ball a little bit, short pass to Matera, setting him through for the try. It was just, spectacular for Santiago Carreras. He did that a few times last week as well, setting up his players around him. I do think that in the second half, he did tighten up a little bit more, not able to really show off that ball handling as he did in the first half. James O'Connor, we talked about, probably the biggest addition to the Wallabies, gets called back in the 10 jersey, another veteran to the Wallabies nowadays. I can't believe James O'Connor, Rabbit, is now a veteran. James O'Connor, he had a knee injury for the Reds, and I really felt like the Reds pushing him back onto the field a little bit too soon for the Super Rugby. He definitely needed a bit more time off. He was a little bit undercooked. But with that said, I think he's been, since Super Rugby ended, he's had another couple months now of rest. So I think he should be okay. We shall see. If he gets on the field and his right leg is heavily strapped like he was in the Super Rugby, the final few games in Super Rugby, I feel like, that probably still need more time off. But if he's coming on the field with light strapping on his right leg, that'll be good. Like, it was preposterous how much strapping he had on his right leg during the final, I think it might have been the elimination games for the Reds. Man, it was just like, you can clearly see he's not 100%. But with a couple months off since then, I think he should be okay. Hopefully he's okay. Juan Imhoff gets caught into the Puma number 11 jersey. Marika Corbett, the impact player for the Wallabies, at number 11. I do want to see him probably get the ball a little bit more for the Wallabies, but every time he does get the ball, he does look very devastating, especially without Samuel Karevi at 12. I think Marika Corbett, I think the Wallabies would like for him to take over that physicality role, to get over the advantage line. More like, probably we'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see how they play that out. Jeromino De La Fuente gets number 12 jersey once again. Matias Orlando gets the number 13 jersey, the unchanged center combination for the Argentinians. Falakai Foketi gets caught in for the Wallabies for number 12 jersey in place of Panapai Sami. Really, really interesting stuff to see this. Dave Rennie trying out new players, giving newer players, newer players, options, newer players, time on the field. Really good to see he didn't just, dip into the same starting lineup every time. So obviously the Wallabies 12 jersey is a bit of a free-for-all at the moment, with Samuel Karevi injured once again, making a stupid decision to play for, Commonwealth Games. What an idiot. Who cares about Commonwealth Games, mate? If you ask me, Wildkard, would you ever play for the Commonwealth Games and risk injury for your national sport? I would say, hell no! I'm not going to risk injury to play Commonwealth Games for something that's completely meaningless and pointless, waste of my time. Even if they pay me $1 million, I would not do that. It's just a complete waste of time. So yeah, Karevi decided to do that, got himself injured. So number 12 jerseys once again bit of a open spot for the Wallabies. We know that Hunter Paisami sometimes play 13 as well. So there's quite a bit of shuffling around in the number 12 spot for the Wallabies to try to find the best combination. I do think Len Ikita is probably the best suitor for the 13 jersey. Who's going to take the 12 is a bit of a question to see how everyone's going to perform. Number 14, Emiliano Boffelli gets moved from the number 11 jersey to number 14. His goal kicking has been spot on last week, and he's been quite good on the wing as well. So as good as you can get for Emiliano Boffelli. Jordi Patea gets the number 14 jersey once again. Surprisingly, I was surprised that he didn't get a 15 jersey last week. I do feel like his kicking game needs to be more if he wants to be in that 15 jersey, but his performance at number 14 was quite good. Juan Cruz Matia gets number 15 for the Pumas. Tom Wright showed last week why he deserved number 15 jersey. Was quite good. He did get moved to the wing, I think, after Cooper got injured and what's his name? Reece Hodge came onto the field. But overall, I was pretty happy with Tom Wright's performance. Good to see that he gets number 15 jersey once again. I am a little bit surprised that they didn't shuffle the 14-15 spot a little bit, because I did feel like Reece Hodge played really well coming off the bench at 15. So I was actually expecting maybe some shuffling there to try out a bit more and try to give it a bit more try out a bit more combinations there. But I think Dave Rennie is pretty happy with Tom Wright at 15. Augustine Creevy gets that experience off the bench once again at number 16. Lachlan Lonergan, number 16 once again. Nahu Caparo gets moved down from the Lucia proposition to number 17 jersey. Matt Gibbon gets number 17 for the Wallabies. Joe Scalvi gets number 18 for the Pumas. Pone Fa'amausili, the big boy, finally gets his long-awaited debut for the Wallabies at the big prop, 130 kilos, more size on the bench for the Wallabies. I really, really like this. He's potentially going to bring on some pang for the Pumas. Only thing I hope he does is keeps discipline. He has shown a little bit of discipline issues for the Rebels. I hope he controls that anger, controls that strength, controls that, that strength, and use it in the scrummaging and not use it, for a yellow card or something. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But Pone Fa'amausili, looking forward to see his debut. Facundo Isak gets caught in for the Pumas at number 19. Nick Frost at number 19 for the Wallabies, unchanged. Rodrigo Bruni at number 20 for the Puma. P. Samu, the best finisher for the Wallabies in the bench. He starts at number 8 for the Brumbies, and many people probably considers him. No, he actually starts at number 7 for the Brumbies. Many people probably consider him the better replacement for Michael Hooper. But this is something that, I think is really brilliant for Dave Rennie. P. Samu is very high energy, very high impact player. With him coming off the bench last week, did a huge number on the Argentinian sides at the breakdowns, and just his hard carry physicality as well really puts a lot of these teams that's been tired on the back foot quite noticeably. Makes a big difference when he comes to the bench. So I really like him coming off the bench. He has been the finisher for the Wallabies since November Internationals last year, and he has continued to develop his role in that spot. So really good to see him once again at number 20 jersey, the danger man. And last week, the bench worked like the charm for the Wallabies, and he had large, play in that dominance performance for the Wallabies in the second half. Thomas Kubili gets dropped from the number 9 jersey to the bench. Tate McDermott gets number 21 jersey for the Wallabies, gets called into the team. Tate McDermott has showed, I thought for the Reds, probably a bit too much individual play style for international test rugby, for club rugby. It's brilliant. But it's not always a bad thing, because we see the France do it a lot, having Anton Dupont almost as a playmaker from the number 9 jersey. Tate McDermott maybe trying to emulate that a little bit for the Reds, but we shall see how he actually goes this game. I would not be surprised to see him maybe bring a bit of a different style to Nick White coming off the bench and bring a bit more flair, but we have to wait and see. Thomas Albruno gets number 22 once again for Argentina. Uriah Simone gets called into number 22 for the Wallabies. Lucio Cinti gets number 23, new addition to the Pumas, and Reece Hodge retains that number 23 jersey for the Wallabies once again. So Reece Hodge last week, not only that his performance at fullback was really good, his goal kicking was really good as well. I think he was 100% last week, despite a few of those kicks were pretty quite long range, 40 plus meters, and I was really happy with him coming off the bench. I do feel like if he's in form with that long range kicking ability, we could potentially see him start in the future, especially against the Springboks. Maybe, yeah, that's coming up. So we have to see how Dave Rennie wants to shuffle him around. But yeah, it's good to see that Dave Rennie is giving a lot of new players opportunities in the squad. And yeah, we have to wait and see. Let me know your predictions. I think Dave Rennie probably has this one over Michael Cheika once again. I think the Wallabies are probably going to win by 10 points. I think the score might not be as high as last week. I think it's probably going to be somewhere like, 27, 30 points to the Wallabies, to the Argentina's 20. Yeah. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the weekend for the reviews. And yeah, have a good one. Cheers.